In this video I give a comprehensive introduction to working in ScorBox. ScorBox refers to the integration of different pieces of software into one work environment. These are primarily, first of all, the Score music publishing system with all of its modules. Secondly, DOSBox, the open source Windows platform enabling the execution of MS-DOS programs in a Windows environment. And thirdly, Macro Express, a Windows automation tool. Additionally, other software can be seamlessly integrated. For instance, Adobe Acrobat or Adobe Distiller, Notepad, and all of Tom Broadhead's utilities such as the Beam program, the LJ program, Edit Score, Accidentals, VJ, PMX, etc. ScorBox is intended to be open to anyone. Scripts, batch files, add-on programs, Macro Express macros, Score internal macros, etc. can all be plugged in to ScorBox for general and universal accessibility through Macro Express modules, or macros as they should be more properly called. Once implemented, such modules can be shared and plugged in easily. In this way, the functionality of ScorBox can constantly be expanded, and individual users can pick and choose exactly those kinds of modules that are useful to them, thereby designing a unique and custom-tailored working environment. Now, in order for this approach to be universally applicable, I thought it was necessary to design a basic framework that will ensure that any new Macro Express module will be workable for every user working in ScorBox. This basic framework consists of the following main components. First of all, a Launchpad. All of the modules of the Score software suite are now launched from a Launchpad. They are no longer launched from the command prompt. In fact, you don't need the command prompt for anything. This Launchpad acts very much like any other Windows Launchpads. Any module is launched by clicking on a program icon, and then you simply choose from a list of radio buttons which module you want to launch. Secondly, with ScorBox you can now run up to 99 simultaneous score sessions, although processor restraints will impose a lower limit. It's really a theoretical limit only, because once you get in excess of 8 or 9 open score sessions, your processing speed will drop dramatically, and that almost makes it unworkable. So it's not really realistic to say that you're running 99 open sessions. I think you would be rather strange anyway if you were trying to do that. In any event, that being the case, easy navigation between open sessions has become a requirement. To address this need, I've created a window selector module that has been designed to switch easily between clearly identified score sessions. Within any ScorBox session, you can now open any file anywhere in the system with a standard Windows type file manager, and you can access this file manager from a file menu, or simply by typing the standard Control-O for file open. So much for introduction, and I think probably it's easier now to simply get started and show the basic workings of ScorBox in action. As you can see down here, I have I'm working in Windows 7. Down here in my taskbar, I have various program icons, one of which is a program icon for ScorBox, as I call it. And the icon that I've chosen for it is an icon that represents 2/8 notes with a beam, which I thought was very appropriate. The program icon is called launch score module ... and if I click on it, I get the Launchpad. In the Launchpad, it prompts me and says select which program to launch, and I can either launch Score 4 or Score 3, or the Page program, or the Just program, which I never use, but nevertheless you might, so you need to have this module, the ScorLace program or the Draw program. Depending on which of these options I choose, there are different ways of going about opening files or navigating to directories, as I will show. Let me begin, first of all, with launching a version of SCOR. I'm going to open SCOR 4 right now, which is selected in this list right now as the first item, SCOR 4. When I begin launching SCOR 4, I get an option window. It says SCOR 4 startup options indicate how to launch SCOR 4. There's 4 possibilities. First one, in default directory. That's the default directory you define in an initialization file. On my system, I have defined that as s:/SCOR 4. That will be a default directory such as you would have on the standard command prompts. I mean, if I launch CMD right now, I have that program icon down here, like this. It comes up initially with a startup directory, and it is s:/SCOR 4. That's what it is on my system. That's what I chose for a startup directory, also for launching ScorBox with through this Launchpad. The second way to launch SCOR is in a directory of a currently open SCOR session. I don't have any SCOR sessions open right now. If I were to select that and try to open, I would get a window that says no active ScorBox session has been detected. To launch SCOR 3 differently, click launch, otherwise click cancel. Obviously, if I click cancel, the process is aborted. So I'm going to leave that alone right now. The third option in the SCOR 4 startup options dialog is choose the directory manually. Then I can start SCOR with a blank screen, but in a directory directly of my choosing. So I wouldn't start in s:/SCOR 4. I'd start in some directory that I choose. Or the fourth option is launch SCOR with a specific file. So let's just do the first option. In default directory, s:/SCOR 4. That simply launches ScorBox, and if you press the F7 key, you can see up here that it is s:/SCOR 4. That's my default directory with a blank SCOR screen. Let me exit this right now and start again. I mean, this goes very quickly. I mean, you don't have to use the mouse, by the way, for anything. You can use just the arrow keys to navigate, or you can also just design certain hotkeys to implement these different things. So you can actually type through this very quickly. If I click OK and press OK again, then it just goes directly to SCOR 4 in the default directory s:/SCOR 4. All right. Second way of launching. I'm going to skip option 2, which says in directory of a currently open SCOR session. I'll show that in a minute. Choose directory manually. That's option 3. And that brings me to a directory tree. And then I can choose a directory in which I want to launch. Let me stay on the S drive right now. I go into my SCOR 4 directory, and maybe I'll select one. Here's a directory called AA space Trent space 88 space A. Doesn't matter that the path has space characters in it. It doesn't matter that the directory has more than 8 characters in it. That's going to be automatically abbreviated for DOSBox, and SCOR will then launch in that directory. If you press the F7 key right now, you'll see that the path is s:/SCOR 4 /AATREN1. All right. Now, once I'm in SCOR, by the way, or in ScorBox as I like to call it, if I press the F12 key, I get my master menu. In that, I have a file menu. And in that file menu, I have 3 options right now. Launch ScorBox module, which would bring up the Launchpad. Open file, that's just for opening an individual file anywhere in your system. Exit, which is a normal close command, like you can also type Alt F4 in order to exit. And of course, cancel. So if I want to launch another ScorBox module right now, I can do that by selecting from this menu or simply typing Control-Shift-O. I get the same Launchpad, and I'll launch another session of SCOR 4. And this time I'm going to launch it with a specific file. And it prompts for a file. It is another window in between. Now, I'm just going to pause here. Once you know how this works, you can press the OK button twice and you quickly navigate across that window. It says in here, the window is called File Mask, and it says your currently selected file extension is star.muse, and you have three options. Keep star.muse as a file mask. Second, indicate a new file mask. And third, show all files. The reason I put that in there is because in most circumstances when I want to navigate to a file that I want to open in SCOR, I really don't need to see all the PDF files or all the EPS files or text files or doc files or files without an extension or whatever it may be, batch files. I don't need to see them because I can't open them in SCOR anyway. So it makes sense to me to restrict the display right away to those files that I know that I can open in SCOR. Those that I mostly work with have a star.muse extension. But you can change that to anything you want. Right now I keep it at star.muse, and those are the only files, if they exist, that will be displayed in this file manager. So a standard file manager opens, and I'm here on my S drive. I'm going to navigate to an MGI directory, and then I have, I just pick something at random. How about trumpet descants melodies? There's a bunch of .muse files in there, and I double click on that. A new DOSBox session opens, and the file opens directly. If you press the F7 key, you can see the path: s:/score4/MGI/ trumpy tilde 2. All right. Now, again, I can launch the Launchpad for opening another session from down here on my taskbar, like this, or within DOSBox, I can just press the F12 key and select it from a menu. That's the same. Or if I am already in DOSBox or ScorBox, I just type Control-Shift-O and I get the same. So I'm going to launch it again. This time I'm going to select option number 2, which is in a directory of a currently open SCOR session. And if I select that, let's say for instance by going down with the arrow key and pressing Enter, I get a thing that's called the directory selector. And it says, the following list shows open ScorBox sessions. Select in which directory to open the new ScorBox session. And it tells me that I have, and from this I can see that I currently have two windows open, two ScorBox sessions running. And the first one, I'm working in a directory that's s:/score4/AA-trend88A. The second one is s:/score4/MGI trumpet descants melodies. I don't know, for some reason you might want to have two different files open from within the same directory. I don't know, to maybe copy between those two files or to compare them with each other or whatever. That might be, you might want to be able to do that. Let's say I want to open up another session in the same directory as one of these. So I select which one I want to open it in, and then ScorBox is launched again. And if I press the F7 key, I can see the directory up here. Or I also have a window selector that allows me to switch between open windows. Actually, I don't have that assigned to the master menu yet, but that's a matter of seconds. I can show you how to do that in a minute. Actually, let me just show you how to do that. Okay, here's the master menu, and what I'm looking for in here is a Windows menu, with which I can then bring up the Windows selector. That doesn't exist here right now, and if I don't remember what the keyboard shortcut is, I wouldn't be able to invoke it. So let me stick it on this menu, and I'll show you how easy that is. I go to Macro Express. I open this up right here. I go into General Issues, and here is a macro called Window that has a keyboard shortcut of Control-Shift-W. All right. Now I want to assign this to a menu so I can see it in there. I go into my menus category right here, and I'm going to open my general menu. That's right here, and these are all the items that are populating my general menu. On the left side are all of my macros. So I go down to Window, and I move it over there, and where should I put it? Maybe just traditionally that's more to the end of a menu list. So I'm going to maybe just move it up by one step to the second lowest item in my master menu. I'm going to save and close. I can just put this back to run the background. Now when I press the F12 key, my master menu comes up and I have a window menu item here, and I click on that and I get this thing that's called the window selector. And that now shows me I have 3 windows open, and as you can see, 2 of those are in the same directory. Alright, so if I switch to this, it's a blank file. I can do a standard directory read here, and I see all my .muse files. So let me just open one called trp1116a. I could still use the G command, trp1116a. I could also have used the open command and go to the file manager and then just select another one here, like this one. It might be a little bit faster to do it that way. And so you can see as I switch between these files in the same directory, these are files in the same directory, 2 files, but they're in the same directory. And if I click on the first option, I go to a completely different directory. See, this is how easy it is to navigate between these things. Let me open up another session, another ScorBox session. And this, I'm going to launch a specific file again, but now I'm going to go to a different drive. Let me launch a file on my G drive. Go see what I have in here. There's some .muse files down there. Okay, I'll just keep doing this a few times. I'm going to open a specific file from my C drive. I usually work on an S drive, but I also have a C drive. Here's my C drive. I have one file, I think, in my lib directory. I call that junk.muse. Opening that. And I'm going to open one more session and launch with a specific file, this time on my L drive. That's an external drive that I have, just like my G drive is an external drive. That's right there. That's a bit slow because for some reason this particular drive just is slow in accessing. It takes a while for it to rotate for some reason when I first go into it. So that's why it hung there for a second. Just go down here and select maybe this here. And there's yet another session. Now it looks like you only have one open. If you go down here, however, you can see I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sessions running right now. And of course you can select which one you want to switch to from down here. That's fine, there's no problem with that. Or you go over here. In Windows 7 you even see these miniature markups of what's displaying on the screen, like here's this denser page. But still, they're only just identified by being called DOSBox 0.74 or DOSBox 0.74, so I can't really tell by looking at this what piece is this actually. I need a better way of identifying that. So the way I do this is, again, with my window selector. I have this window menu, and you can see that the window selector is automatically populated by whatever is running. And it tells you what the underlying directories are for any open window. So I know that I have 3 sessions open on an S drive right now. I have 1 session on the G drive, 1 on a C drive, and 1 on an L drive. And I can select each one. It doesn't matter which one I select. It instantly goes there when I click OK. This is on my G drive. Okay. Let me go to my C drive, C:\lib. It tells me. Press F7. There's C:\lib. Bring up my window selector again. I go to my L drive. L:\AAS drive /SCOR4. I go there, press the F7 key, and you can see that's my directory, the L drive AAASDR_1 SCOR-4, like so. So it's extraordinarily easy. I mean, you can. Let me just open up another session here. I'm going to open this one in the default directory. N1. That's good enough. 3, 1, 1, like that. G4 times 4. Sorry. N1. It doesn't really matter. I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 7 sessions open right now. And as you can see, you can navigate between these simply by selecting them from the list, and you always know immediately what directory it is you're working on. Let's say here I'm on my G drive. This is my open session right now. I'm on the G drive. I press F7. I can verify that here. But in this particular session, I'm now going to open up a different file altogether somewhere else. This time I'm going to say show all files. And I'm going to go to my S drive now. S drive, ScorBox. Let me open up one of those beam charts. See, now I've selected all files, and it shows me everything in the directory, which I don't find very useful, but at least I want to show you that you can select that option. I'm going to select a file called slant01.muse. There's this file. Now if I go to my Windows selector, you can see that what used to be the G drive right here has now become s:/ScorBox/beam. So the Windows selector keeps track of where you are on the system, which makes it very easy for you to navigate. You can, by the way, I'm going to open up another session, mix and match different versions of Score. This is Score 3 now. I'm going to choose a directory manually. I'm going to go to, I don't know, Score 4, like this, and then maybe Trent 88B. I haven't selected that one before. Right here. Okay, there it is. The directory tells you Score 4 /AA Trent, and this time tilde 2. We had tilde 1 before. If I go to a Windows selector, I see up here Trent 88A. That's a different directory. If I press F7, you see it ends. Sorry, I think I chose the wrong one. No, this is correct. And down here I have Trent 88B, and I can switch to that. It's that easy. But if I type VER now, I see that this is version 3.1. I select another one from the list. I go in here and I type VER here. This was Score 4, and it tells me, in fact, that I've launched version Score 4. So you can mix and match different Score versions this way. It doesn't matter at all. Okay. Let's say you needed to do something on the command prompt, even though you don't need the command prompt anymore. But let's say you want to run some batch file, you wouldn't want to do something else. In any of these open sessions, you can open a command prompt simply by typing Control F12, like that. And you see it opens up in the correct directory, s:/Score4/beam. Let me change to a different directory. Score for MGI trumpet descants melodies. That's where I am. Press Control F12, and now I'm in that directory. So go to the S drive and the root. I mean, in my default directory, s:/Score4. I go to that, press Control F12, and that's the directory there. So no matter where you are, you can get a command prompt that's always in the correct directory. And then you can run Tom's utilities, or you can run a bash file, whatever you want, and perform something in the files in that directory or on the open file with an open CMD session, and then close that session when you're done. So it's very easy to have access to a command prompt when you actually need it. Now, how about something else? Now, let's say I want to launch the page program. Well, let me actually first of all switch to a different directory. I'm going to go to. Let me do it this way. Tell it to open page. I get 3 options: default directory Score 4, directory of a currently open Score session, or indicate directory manually. I'm going to say, and this is selected by default because I'm assuming that when you're running page, when you're invoking it from within Score, you'll probably want to invoke it in the directory where you're working. So I open this up. I get my list. I select the one that I'm in right now, which will be, I believe it was this one here. Actually, I should verify that. Yeah, it's s:/4 page. Like this, and I get another DOSBox session, but this time it's a page program that's running, and now you can do whatever you need in that directory that you've indicated. The just program, which I never use, does exactly the same thing. Let's do select in which direction we want to launch it. There's that. ScorLace, very useful. I do use that all the time, like this. I suppose what I should put in there is to pre-select one of these buttons to be selected from whichever DOSBox session is currently active, because that will be the active directory, and you're probably going to launch it from the directory you're currently working on. That will be useful. I should put that in there so that there's going to be one button selected, namely the one of the frontmost window. I don't have that as a feature, but that will be useful. And then finally, the draw program. Now there you get different options, because I think you really just want to launch the draw program in one of your library directories. I don't see what the point is otherwise. So if you launch draw, you have three options. You can launch it in a default directory, which you can define. I've defined that as s:/lib on my system. Or you can choose from a list of draw libraries. I do in fact have multiple draw libraries. And you can then just simply choose from that list, and the draw will open up in that particular directory. Or again, you can indicate a directory manually. Let me say choose from a list of draw libraries, and it shows me which libraries I have defined as containing draw files. This is a dynamic list as well. So this particular macro on your system will yield something different. Let me do this again. I choose from a list of draw libraries, and you get this window, the draw library selector. These are not hardwired. They're read from an initialization file that I've created, and I give in that initialization file the draw file directories that are on my system. Now, let me just go to a conventional file manager and go to the directory that contains the support files for ScorBox. I have a support file that's called drawlibraries.txt. I'll move this over here. This is the file, and you can see here that the options are exactly the same. Lib, lim, lir, liz, liv, and c:/lib. I have that as a directory as well. If I add something else down here, it doesn't really make any difference, like Mickey Mouse and Goofy. Let's say I have those as well, and I save this file. Let me close this right now. Go back to launching draw, and you can see that my list of draw libraries now contains Mickey Mouse and Goofy as an option, simply because I've indicated in my initialization files which directory is actually currently active on my system. By the way, I should say that this is exactly the same approach that I use. I've already developed a module that does that. You can now display when you're typing text items into SCORE, you can, from a menu, you can display all fonts that you have PSC files for on your system, and it will get the actual font names from the content of the PSC file. So if you're ready to type something up in Helvetica, bold, oblique, italic, or who knows what, I can never remember what the underscores characters are for that. Doesn't make any difference. You can go into a font menu now, and all font names that you have PSC files for will be displayed dynamically by going into your library directory and looking for PSC files, and then getting all the information out, and then populating a multiple choice menu like the one you've just seen here. So so you can see with ScorBox, once you start constructing these basic modules, they all function alike, and you can now input information into SCORE, or add commands into SCORE in ways that it was never before possible. Anyway, I don't have a Mickey Mouse and I don't have a Goofy directory, so I'm going to save this. Take this out again. Again, if I attempt to launch draw, I'm back to these directory options. I'm going to launch it in my directory called s:/lir, like so. And if I do a directory check, I press F9. You can in fact see that my path is sdrive /lir. Anyway, this is sort of what I think is a foundation for working in ScorBox. It's taken, actually, it was a bit more complicated than I expected it to be. And what you can see here is that I've tried to design it in such a way that the system is aware at all times where it is that you are, how many sessions you have open, what you've navigated to, and even what file you're currently working on. Because only in that way can you be sure that when you run plugins, that the plugin knows which file it is actually supposed to work on right now. So I thought I need to get the foundation correct first, and then everything else can then be imposed onto that. Anyway, this is the basic framework from which you can launch ScorBox and work in Score, and everything else on top of that are just plugin modules that you can make yourself or we can exchange on scorebox.com. I hope this has whetted your appetite, and I hope that we can together we can build Score, or ScorBox as I call it, into the most versatile way of working with Score that we've ever had. Thank you very much for watching. By the way, just a little postscript addendum, I couldn't help myself. I'm going to construct really quickly an additional macro, and I'm going to place that macro into my Launchpad that we've been using throughout this demonstration to give us more options. I'm going to go to Macro Express, say create a new macro. I don't need a hotkey. I'm going to call this one Launch Win Score, like this. Okay, this one's going to be a simple macro, like this. It's very small type right now. There's a good reason for that. You'll see in a minute. I'm going to center this, make it bold face, and then we'll give it a width of 400, and a height of 350, like this. Like that. This is called Launch Win Score. Save and close. I go into my Launchpad module. Okay, I'm going to select this. Copy. Paste this here. Launch. It's called Launch Win Score. Launch Win Score. I think that's what I called it, right? Yes. Launch Win Score, like this. And I go in here, place that as an option. Win Score, like this. Save and close. That should be fine. Go to my desktop, start my Launchpad, and now it says Win Score. Thank you very much for watching.